So on the yellow side of things, we have ZombieGrub playing Ryota, and on the right hand side in the player 2 position, in red, it's Caesar
She
from
didn't use
Barry.
any of the clock there. She just knew what she was going to do instantly.
Yeah, I do feel like one thing that I will say as well is that Barry is playing on Switch, which is going to give him a slight disadvantage in a timed format. Mouse and keyboard is a little bit faster in this game. But I don't think it's going to be too big of an influence, but we will see that ZombieGrub is going to make moves a lot faster. Uh, but then again, that said, like a lot of this time that's going to be spent during these matches is going to be downtime where people are like thinking about what they're going to do, what units they're going to build, and like contemplating lethals. And people are talking about gotta use that StarCraft 2 APM. Hey, this is a timed match. And in a chess time match, if the clock runs out, you lose. Like it's not we don't mess around here. Um None of this like you get extra time per like turn nonsense. I say nonsense. I wouldn't mind a format like that, but we're going with what we have, and like what we have is chess timers, and people are finding them working quite well so far.
I really like the timers. My only thing is that they keep ticking while you're using the groove. So some commanders like Sedge or Ryota, and to be fair, those are really strong commanders, so maybe it's okay. But you've got to keep the time it takes for the groove animation to play in account for what you're going to do. And also, that RTS skill is definitely going to come in handy. Like I was saying before, you have to click fast when the game gets going and you have 30 units on the field. You need to click the unit, where it's going, what action it's going to take, and if you fuck up, that could be game over.
Oh, PG stream by the way, PG stream.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We will continue. So we have Zombie Grub doing some interesting plays, moving the commander past the village. So normally people will capture villages, like and try and get build up the income, but she's going for a very big positioning advantage, pushing Ryota forward really fast. And I'm interested to see if she's gonna try and take this village on the right here and just like threaten the center, because commanders just slaughter swordsmen and do really well against spears and dogs, just all the early game units. So that could be the play coming out here. And on the other side, like, and they both went for wagons as well, which I think is very interesting.
What's really getting me is ZombieGrub ignored the tempting early villages to go for this turn 4 triple capture deep into the middle and enemy territory. And they're playing more standard on the right, so I think they're going to have an income advantage going forward.
Yeah, definitely using the swords on the right to get income, and then doing more interesting plays on the left. Goes for a single archer, which I guess against this setup makes sense. Like you're gonna have like a wall of swords behind your in front of your archer if you get it to the front line quickly with the wagon. And Barry going to use the wagon to leapfrog the commander forwards, from what I can tell. He also elected to go an early dog, which means that he can't capture these front villages here, but what he can do is threaten any swords that go for those villages.
Honestly, this doesn't feel exactly like a game of Wargroove. Like, just watching ZombieGrub, I'm thinking, okay, you're wagoning an archer to immediately cover the foot soldiers you spammed. This is like, you got a bunch of zealots, you got and built a stalker, put it behind them. I'm definitely seeing the StarCraft skills coming through there. Most Wargroove players, like at this level, would like spam out of both barracks, get like tons of unit count early. But this is a hyper aggressive play. I really want to see how it shakes out. It might be better than what we usually see.
Oh, uses the wagon for a sword to go back. That's interesting.
My precious predictions. No.
And actually, the other interesting thing about this as well is that sword can then get wagoned straight back to the front line. And goes for a second archer. So going really heavy on the archers. I think, and this makes sense because you look at what they're going up against. There's a lot of spears. There's like 2 spears, 2 swords, and a dog. So what you want to do is you want to create a wall of your own. Take this center position and then put archers behind it. And the archers will absolutely dominate. the spears and swords from the Bowie.
I don't know. Bowie's got that knight though. I'm looking forward to seeing. Archers do big damage to knights if you give them free attacks, but a knight can just obliterate an archer. So the wall is going to have to be very well done to account for the knight's mobility.
Yeah, that is one pretty huge thing here as well. Ooh, we have a harpy coming out. And this is a very interesting play because there isn't too much anti-air on ZombieGrub's side. The archers can shoot the harpy, so they will be quite a big threat to this front line until the archers can get there. And archers don't do that much damage to harpy. Let me look.
No, harpies are an archer counter. They do way more damage to archers than archers do to harpies.
This is
And
true.
even though archers have 3 range plus 3 movement, harpies' ability to ignore terrain, aside from the flagstone in the middle, of course, gives them a big boost in mobility. Usually you will build harpies into archers to try to take them out.
Okay, so it goes for the capture on the village in the south. We're gonna see what like the other choices here are. Like, is this wagon just gonna stick around and help this sword get back to the front line? It could do. It's in position for that. It could also have another unit pop out, head into the wagon straight away. So whatever build comes out of this racks, definitely going to be influenced there. And we're going to see both of these archers probably just like troop up to the center.
This is what I was saying before about ZombieGrub being an incredibly intuitive player. Notice the distance from the sword to the wagon. Both of their turns are spent, and the sword has exactly enough movement to move its full movement and then get into the wagon. A common beginner mistake is to screw that up, to put the wagon too close or have them end their turn next to each other. She has perfect logistics. And, like, how long has ZG been playing this game?
I think she started playing on Thursday. And,
Yeah, that took me like a few months.
right. Yeah. So definitely a lot of intuition coming in here. So there's a lot of interesting things happening now. ZombieGrub went for a witch. There's no ground anti-air. The mage is the big counter to the witch. So the witch is out. It's going to hard counter the harpy. Harpies don't do anything to witches, really. And the other thing as well is this sword in the middle is a bait. Because look, it's those 2 units have died. There's nothing else that can really get to the front. But the archer covers and can kill the knight, and the commander can get a follow-up hit. So that was perfect. Like, there's nothing else that can really like threaten for a follow-up here. The commander could easily just walk in after an archer shoots, get the kill, and like because of the positioning of everything, it's going to be not necessarily free damage, still take some damage in return, but very good positioning and very good bait. These swords on the east, however, are very much in danger. One of them's already gone down. The double swords here, under threat next. There's like a dog up here, there's a dog down here, there's a spear over here. So these are in quite a lot of danger. There's a knight here, which is okay as an option, but there's a spear, so, and a commander, so like that's in a lot of danger. There isn't really too much to deal with this side. One thing that is going to be said that I will say about the way competitive Wargroove maps generally are built is one player has a strong side and one player has a weak side, and they have a strong side and a weak side, and those are like opposite sides of the map, obviously. So the strong side on this map is where the commander goes, so ZombieGrub on the left, Bowie on the right. So they're both taking advantage of their strengths and weaknesses.
Great use of the witch to block for that archer. I'm not sure where the other one's going to stand, though. And if it moves, then the knight has crit on the archer behind.
I do think she can just kill the knight for free, though.
Non-crit on flagstone?
Nah, the archer
No.
could run forward and shoot the knight first.
Oh, and then Ryota hits it. Yeah, that might work.
They do... It might not kill the knight, but it will definitely cripple it. Oh, yeah, archer runs forward, gets the hit. Bit of a vulnerable position on the archer, but there is... You know, the commander is going to follow up and cover that. Gets the hit on the knight. So the knight is at 6% health, very weak. Oh, and just, uses the sword, runs it forward, says, like, I'm just going to keep that spear softened up. This is actually really good play because that spear could run up and hit Ryota and do a bunch of extra damage. And even building a dragon as follow-up, so really, like, when you get a witch, you have complete air dominance against other air. The main threat against the dragon is witches. So if you have your witch out already, then, like, they're gonna really struggle against that. There's no mages out from Barry. I'd really like to see even double build mage this turn. Or single build mage, single build witch, and then like a ground unit up in the top left. And we have people in chat saying, you sure ZombieGrub only just started, and she's playing really well, I have to say. There's definitely some things that I think come from experience that she could definitely improve on, but for someone that's been playing this game for like 2 days, this is like really like high level.
Aside from unit count, which honestly I'm not even sure if they need in this situation, they're playing like I don't want to say perfectly, but this is like a competitive level maybe, or something close. This is very impressive.
Oh, and Barry responds to the dragon with his own dragon. I mean, it works. And here's the thing, like, dragon plus Caesar Groove is terrifying. There was a situation in Groove of War 3 where one player left a commander on a road, and it was a misplay, like, the other player didn't punish it, but they had a dragon and they had Caesar Groove, and they could have just shot the commander twice with the dragon. So there's some pretty scary things you can do with that.
You're gonna have a hard time going dragon into witch when you don't have your own witch.
That is very true. We're probably gonna see this harpy go down to the witch, just because like there isn't really anything on the board to do anything against it, unless the spear blocks. The spear or the sword, one of those two needs to block.
And they could take out the archer.
Yeah, that's true as well. Oh, actually, yeah, because the sword can just run around and hit the archer. So I think the archer is sacrificed, but it's kind of worth it. Because if you look at the, how much damage the knight took, that's more damage than the cost of an archer.
Didn't finish it off.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have finished it off with the pike, but if they had, it would have get counter-killed by the other archer. So maybe that was a smart retreat there.
Yeah, moves the archer.
Though.
Yeah, and just goes for the kill with the witch. So now there is a witch in the center of the map with like very little to contest it. And yeah, I mean this dragon is going to really struggle to do anything. It can like sneak around on the left and sneak around on the right.
A giant build.
Wait, giant? Oh yeah. Now the question is, does ZombieGrub know that? Oh right, so ZombieGrub. Oh, I think it's trying to move the wagon in position for the golem.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, this is one of those like doesn't. This is one of those like new player things, right? And I think there was actually a point in the beta where you could use a wagon to put a golem in, and I've definitely lost. I definitely lost at least one game doing this, so. This is one of those, like, everybody does this thing kind of once. Might have watched an old video about wagons when the old rules applied. Maybe. I'm kind of curious what this sword's gonna do. I mean, it's kind of, it's almost inconsequential, but this sword's just kind of been chilling on this mountain all game. It's definitely... It's one of those, like, it threatens to, like, block the commander from being able to move.
ZG could end the game right here. Just Commander, Dragon into Stronghold, Witch takes Dragon, and next turn. The 5 Archer can even hit the Stronghold. Like this should be game. And the Knight too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the Stronghold could fall this turn.
Although the Knight's gonna die, I think. There's like
No,
there's loads of spears near it.
it doesn't matter. Knight front of Stronghold, Yoda to the left, Archer hit, and
No, but
Dragon
the
hit.
Knight's gonna die before it gets the chance to hit the stronghold, is my point.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's true.
Also, something I just realized that's going to be quite crushing is that the witch is now camping the tower. And witches do really well when they get first hit in a 1 versus 1 against other witches. Because their crit condition is if a unit is not next to another witch, they get the critical. So they're going to be very punishing towards like anything that comes out of this tower from now on. So Barry can only really build ground units because the witch is camping it.
One hacky thing you can sort of do is use the dragon to block for the witch, and the witch will protect your dragon from your opposing witch's crit. And if they move that pike into the right spot, they could stop the witch from going around. So theoretically a witch could be built here, but that would be a bit of a high-level move.
Okay, I think Barry's just going to go for it. The one thing that's like a bit not beginner friendly on this map is that there's some flagstone in the center. So if you aren't familiar with this map, you will just kind of lose. Goes for his own witch, and I think what you're saying is right. Like, if the dragon had been near the dragon would have been like a shield for the witch so that you could get first hit. But in this situation, I mean, heck, like for all we know, ZombieGrub might just attack the dragon instead and then lose the witch fight. It would not be very ideal, but
You know what? I'm really liking Bowie's plays here, because thinking about it, if the witch has to go for the witch in order to secure air dominance. That means Yoda can't leave this spot. Also, without the giant being put in the wagon, it's a little bit of a slower advance. ZombieGrub is a little bit down on unit count. If that dragon's free to roam, it could kill the archer. It could kill the golem, depending on unit positioning.
oh,
No, there it is.
she goes for the dragon. So now this witch gets the free hit on the enemy witch. And okay, the dragon is effectively like neutered. Oh, we have a Ryota dash. And actually, I think that's kind of a smart play, because what happens now is this dragon can no longer threaten Ryota. And we're seeing like mopping up with the spears, uses the dragon, probably going to use this archer. Ideally you use your ranged unit first when attacking, but I think at this point she has such an advantage that yeah, like there's nothing really to like threaten a counterattack here.
Caesar's Groove requires you to have troops so that you can move them twice. If Caesar has no troops, Caesar can't groove.
This is very true.
ZombieGrub is...
Sorry, you were saying.
ZG has a huge income lead, so catching up on troops is not exactly something Caesar can do right now.
Yeah, the only thing, and actually this map prevents it, but one thing you can do with Caesar is you can groove production buildings. So you could, in theory, you could build 2 things out of the racks, but by moving next to the barracks, like you prevent the second unit from being built because there's only 2 build spots on that. Actually, there's only 2 build spots on both of them, so Caesar is kind of a bit weaker on this map, like because of that.
I mean, how many players actually do that, though?
None so far, but that's mostly just because the circumstances haven't allowed for it. It's way better to like groove 4 of your units. People ask you, chat, you can groove racks and towers and any production building. And like Caesar has a lot of really cool, unique plays. I definitely want to see someone go for like Thief Steel on like a headquarters or something, and then Caesar grooves them away from it. But Barry now finally getting some anti-air, realizes this dragon is like a huge threat. Pretty much just saying, I'm gonna go all air this turn. There isn't too much. Actually, there's basically no anti-air left. So this is like one of the few things that can happen here that will counter this army. Like the archer and this very low health witch is the only thing that's gonna shoot air. Because this golem isn't gonna do anything, and the trebuchet isn't gonna do anything. So this harpy can just roam around the map, basically uncontested. The archer is a bit of a threat, but isn't like
Yeah, I
the
will
end of the world.
say Caesar's ability to groove barracks was more or less unknown, even though a gamer called Unicorn pointed it out very early. But players only figured it out when Alsame mentioned it on stream just recently.
I knew about it for a long time, but I'd never seen it, so I just didn't talk about it. And for a long time, Caesar was banned in a lot of events because we banned top tiers for quite a while. Just to encourage like more mid-tier play. That was the previous balance patch. Things are different now. So nobody had been playing Caesar, so like there wasn't a reason to bring it up to anyone. But yeah, like I'm curious what's going to happen here. Something that's a really big threat actually to this dragon is that Caesar Groove on the mage is a really big deal. So we could see the mage run up and hit the dragon twice.
Oh wow, that trebuchet off the left barracks. I did not think I'd start seeing trebuchets on this map again.
They're difficult to get out, especially, so it used to be you would be able to put them in balloons and then carry them across to the center. And the balloon would also act as a shield from ground units. But that's no longer an option, so you have to march the trebuchet all the way around. This forest here blocks the trebuchet from getting to center. So this map is like very much like a standard map. It doesn't have too much going on, but it was built in the era of trebuchets used to cost less and be stronger in more situations. Ooh, I actually really like that witch hex. Just kind of like dents a lot of units. Makes this archer a bit less threatening. Makes this golem a lot less threatening as well. Like a 90% golem isn't as likely to one-shot units. I think it can't one-shot spears now, whereas before, like, there was always a chance. Mages on grass tiles with like 10% bonus to defense won't get one-shot by a 90% golem most of the time there, so that hex was good.
Yep.
I liked it.
Theoretically, a giant should never be able to assassinate a pike on plains, because its maximum damage is 110, reduced by 10% to 99. Sorry, I was playing a lot with Master of Math yesterday.
Entirely fair. Uses the groove on the mage. The mage is gonna probably run forward and hit the dragon there, which is extremely good value. You deal about 1,000 gold's worth of damage for a 400 cost unit. There's no other unit in range to punish this now. So that dragon just ate, and that's an average roll as well. Mages deal average 85 damage to dragon. Perfect average roll, 85% damage.
Alright, we're starting to see how ZG is actually new to the game now. Because their opening was flawless. But then they started building slower units, falling behind on unit count a little bit. And these are things that are good for closing out a game when you have an early advantage. The giant pick into a dragon and air meta was a little bit weak because you want dragons to stomp like infantry, pikes. They are good if you're going for the stronghold, but I don't see it moving in that direction, and the loss of air dominance means the giant can't approach the stronghold carelessly. In this kind of situation, you want like a lot of knights and swords to start capturing villages. Try to triple build if you can, knight, sword, maybe a harpy or a balloon to get the swords to the front faster. Those are some of the things you'll see more in competitive play when someone has this big of an income lead to just close out a game.
Yeah, it's very easy to just like play very standard, you're very safe, you just build a kind of very well-rounded composition. Whereas ZG has 2 archers that could shoot up, a witch that she had to spend a lot of gold just healing. This dragon's very injured. So if the mage had high rolled high enough and got the 90, which is kind of like the 1 in 11 like massive hit, the witch could follow up with a hex and like kill the dragon. And ZombieGrub choosing not to reinforce the dragon as well, which I think is a good choice at this point. The dragon's done a lot. It's like also a very good pressure unit, but it's very expensive to heal and repair. Right now, just moving this trebuchet to the front line, we're going to see this kind of like slower long-term play of I'm going to build this trebuchet, get it to the front line, and building lots of archers. Which I guess if you have enough archers, you essentially have effective anti-air. And you have a healed witch as well. But typically, there's this kind of like at low level play, and I guess this is true in StarCraft as well, you want to make lots and lots of units and just like constantly build out of as many production facilities as possible. And then like once you learn how to do that, you then start learning which like situations are good for building like certain units as well. And going into this, ZombieGrub's mainly been focused on, I'm just gonna get my units that are like more expensive and skip Rax builds, which I'd say isn't the strongest play, but she's making it work.
I've mentioned this in a lot of my videos too, but archers are not duelists. They aren't win more either. Archers are really utility units. They help you break a wall or hit the back line. You want 1 or 2 in your formation if you're going strong, but spamming them is a little bit weak because they can't tank, they can't do a lot of damage. For 500 gold, if you really want to pressure your opponent, just go for an alchemist and a sword. Same cost and you can build off 2 barracks.
Yep, that's very true. Alchemists have a really good range. They're very good against area units. They just have generally very good damage. They do quite a lot of damage to commanders. They do like 25 average, which is really nice. And their crit condition is very easy to get on like maps like this. You have lots of mountains and forests to play with. Lots of like high defense tiles. The entire map is surrounded by mountains. You can put a mage on the edge of the map and they're not immortal, but very, very strong. Ooh, and Barry going for another hex. I'd say that's a good value hex as well. He hits a lot of units. This golem, I think he wants to get into a position where he can really just like whittle that down. And also some other things, like his commander now has a bunch of options to get free kills and start building up groove again. Whereas, funnily enough, because Bowie's unit count is so low and because it's so air heavy, Ryota can't build groove. Like there's nothing for him to hit anymore. Which is a counter. I don't think I've ever considered that as an option before, but it's there.
My strategy was to be so far behind on units that you can't build a groove.
I mean, Ryota's groove relies a lot on like killing lots of things because it's fast and you can get it quite quickly, but also having the enemy unit count being high means it does more damage. I'm kind of curious if ZombieGrub's gonna do something like build a huge conga line of her own units to build like an ultimate groove that does what we found out recently was like there's no scaling prevention, so it can go beyond the commander's usual 100% damage.
Yeah, that was sick. We all thought it capped at 100%, but then people started posting videos proving that no, you can get like pretty much infinite damage with Ryota if you get enough jumps.
I believe Shu is currently making a map where there's like 1,000 sedges on the map or something ridiculous. Well, maybe not that much, but like 100 is probably like me giving a more accurate number. And he's just gotta like do as many Ryota jumps as possible and see how much damage he can do.
I think it was like 1,000 sedges. It was insane. I'm pretty sure he's got a video of it up somewhere.
Oh, I didn't know there was a video. Oh no, I think it's scheduled for release. Or he's gonna do a live stream of it or something. But back to the match. Witch gets a bunch of damage on the Hex. Harpy runs forward, hits the enemy Archer, which is quite a good choice. The Archer is one thing that can punish the Harpy. However, this Harpy here can run in and kill that Harpy, so... Oh, I guess the Mage covers it, so the Mage would kill the Harpy. The Barry definitely behind, but he's technically not out because Sedge is such a huge threat, right? Not Sedge. Caesar, sorry. I'm getting my C's mixed up. Caesar's such a huge threat because you can have 4 units attack twice. And you know, we've got an archer out now, and like Harpy, which can double hex in theory using a Caesar groove. The mage does quite a lot of damage. You could attack with a bunch of units and use a mage to heal up your army so that it can attack again. There's definitely a lot of options here, and the commander, you know, is always vulnerable. This dies, it's game over. So we may even just see like a full retreat from the commander and just have ZombieGrub use her army to finish the enemy player off. Just like let Bowie get killed. And like what we're seeing right now is definitely moving back to a more fortified position. Doesn't want to uses a village to heal. And yeah, definitely like pulling back, saying, okay, I could lose if I make a mistake, so I'm just going to play safe, build up my forces a bit, get in good position. The further this trebuchet gets towards the enemy HQ, like the more likely that this game's just going to be over very soon. But
yeah, that's virtually a win condition at this point. Especially since we're seeing Double Witch, finally an Alchemist is built. ZG is reclaiming air dominance, and that will completely protect that trebuchet.
I guess like the one thing that we haven't really talked about too much is the chess timer, which I can't mouse over because it makes the thing move every time I do that. So they're both having like 16 minutes on the clock. So they actually do have to finish the game. If they don't, you know, it's a rough way to lose, but you can lose that way.
I seem to remember a certain player winning off the chess timer in a recent live stream. Who was that?
Oh, who could that possibly be? I didn't win off the timer, to be fair. Just so people are aware, like I played a Showmatch against Sedge, who's coming up later. And I won not because the timer ran out, but because I played so fast and they were taking their time on their turns that the timer was getting closer and closer to being completely run out, and then they just made mistakes, because that's what happens. Like once this timer starts really ticking down, once you're in like the last 5 minutes, it's pressure gets huge. And like right now, they're probably not feeling it as much. They still have half their time left. The game's, I would say, getting close to being in the end state, where like you can kind of just see what's going to happen for the rest of the game. Like some surprises could come out, but it's very much ZombieGrub's just going to collect her forces and then push forward for the HQ. And if a commander kill presents itself, then she'll take it, but otherwise very much like just gonna slow move to the enemy HQ, kill that, game over. And she just needs to do that in like the most like efficient manner possible. Whereas, and like she has plenty of time to do that. She's got like 16 minutes left on the clock, and Barry has like 15.
Bowie was able to recover from what would have been normally an unwinnable position. I still say that ZG has it. I've said it from the beginning, but I don't want to count them out just yet. I think that if Bowie gets Caesar Groove again, a Ryota kill might happen. Unless ZombieGrub can clear off those units.
Yeah, the mage dying is huge. If she can get rid of this Harpy as well. I think this witch hits the enemy witch. Archer into Harpy, that's actually a really good play because this follow-up Harpy can now finish that off. Uses the witch to finish off the enemy witch, so she's just going to be very aggressive now. She collected her forces and now she's pressing the advantage. And she can kill quite a lot.
Yeah, it's like I was saying before, the Archer is a utility unit. You get that Harpy weak so that your Harpy can hit it and you don't take a lot of counterattack damage. It's support, basically. An Archer is a support unit. And a support unit that only does damage, as weird as that is.
Yeah, and like, I like the Archer's role in the game, where like, it deals the extra damage, and the Harpy, like, Doesn't do a huge amount of damage either. It's kind of this like, it's comparable to the Battlecopter in Advance Wars, where it's a combat unit, but it's not very good at fighting a lot of things. Doesn't deal a huge amount of damage to infantry for its cost. It loses to witches in the air completely. It's only really good against knights and other harpies.
Yeah, knights are powerful in this meta, though. Harpies were a little bit weak before, except on like certain maps, but I think they're finding their place in 2.0.
Also, it is worth noting, one more turn and that trebuchet is at headquarter attack range. So, as long as Ryota doesn't die, this game I think is going to be fine. So I think like at this point, the one like win condition Barry could go for is he gets Caesar Groove somehow. I think he only needs to attack something once, and then he'll have Groove. And then like he hangs on after he gets that, and then he gets Inspire and kills the Ryota. So he's kind of got this like all or nothing gamble left. Whether that happens or not is another question.
Honestly, what I would do in this situation, knowing how much fun Ryota Groove is to use, I would deliberately set up a Ryota chain and try to make the end of that chain a death trap. Like, go for that Hail Mary there, see if you can bait Ryota away from their army.
It is, like, I have lost Ryota games where I've done that before, so it is definitely an option. Whether or not that's going to happen is another question. I don't even know if there's enough units to really make a chain, because there isn't enough really to follow up and kill Ryota. Like, you will just do so much damage with a chain. So this is really going to come down to, can Barry just get the damage? And it's unfortunate because, like, for example, there's this archer here. Barry can't have a dog run into the archer and get the kill. Like, it just won't happen. They don't one-shot that, unfortunately, so he can't do, like, use the dog to get a wraparound on Ryota and try and get, like, a three-pronged attack from all sides. And he lost his witch as well, and witch's other really important thing is they're essentially a flying, you have 10% less on, like, your units if I choose to have that happen. So in this situation, Caesar has 80% health, just because you can double hex. Whereas Ryota has, I mean, he's on 90% health, but yeah, I mean, like, I think I need to check chat. I don't know if Barry is, like, saying anything. No, so he's just thinking about it. I think he's definitely in a losing position, and he just kind of needs to figure out, like, how he's going to go from here. The other thing that's very unfortunate as well is that the crit condition on golems is when they're 40% or below health, they get their critical and they do 2.5 times more damage, so effectively being at full health, but like in terms of the damage they deal. So if Caesar runs up and hits the golem goes back into crit mode and deals a lot of damage back. So even that option isn't on the table right now.
Yeah, Caesar can't attack here, can't defend. What I would do is I would move Caesar and all the units to the northeast as quickly as possible, set up a Ryota chain, hope and maybe like send something to the stronghold as a distraction. Like, you're playing against the AI, hope that you can bait off most of the units to the left, build a golem on the right, and try to trap Ryota with Caesar and golem next turn. You won't kill them, but maybe you can kill them the turn after that.
The other possibility is you move up through towards where the stronghold is, and then, oh, builds his own golem. Okay.
He is doing it. Oh, he's going for it.
Sends the sword up. Oh, is he?
He's literally doing it.
Move C. I like this decision. Keep Caesar, so the stronghold won't just die. Hits Ryota, tries to get some damage on him. The Harpy's gonna die. The Witch will just catch it no matter where it moves. Uses the dog, tries to injure Ryota, and is like, he's trying to just bait a Ryota groove. And I guess it comes down to whether is ZombieGrub just gonna move back and heal, or is ZombieGrub gonna try and go for it.
Okay, if they put the wagon... Nah, that's not it. Yeah, the groove can't happen from there.
Maybe
Not unless Witch kills Harpy
maybe
first.
it's like a longer term play, not trying to go for the groove, but just trying to threaten. And like, say if you move forward next turn I'll get you, but... Okay, moves forward, hits with the archer. Probably gonna... Hits with the other archer. Interesting. Moves Ryota back, which is, you know, the very smart play.
Yeah, ZG ain't getting baited by this.
Nope. Probably gonna use one of these witches to finish off this Harpy. Uses a mage heal, which I like as a safety play. Basically, like, there isn't really anything that threatens Ryota, but
There was a free reinforced, though.
there was a free reinforce, but you know what? Moving back as far as possible and then using a mage to heal, I would say it's not the worst decision you could make. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair.
like, you never want your commander to be at low health, even if it's safe, because like you never know what can happen. Especially against a commander like Caesar, who can just like pull something out of nowhere and kill you.
Yeah, the intent was definitely high level there. Definitely, like, a beginner mistake would be to keep pressing forward with the commander. Going back and healing was a good move.
Yeah. And now we have Trebuchet in range.
In crit range,
Yep.
it's gonna do 71% to the stronghold on average.
Oof. I remember when they would high roll for like 80, and it was like horrifying. Right, move the golem up. And the golem has so much health that it can just like tank hits. I think next turn this game's over. Uses the hex to kill the soldier. Wow. Just denying any possibility of comeback here. I don't know about that soldier hitting that village. I feel like the soldier follow-up on the headquarters would be better, but, you know, there isn't enough to damage the golem to the point where it can be low. Like, it'll get its crit condition if it gets attacked, essentially, and then it will just kill the stronghold anyway.
Yeah, I think we're looking at game here. ZG had dominance for a really long time. Bowie made an impressive comeback, but the income advantage was just too huge. And I think ZG really got a grasp of this game crazy quickly over the past 3 days.
Yeah, and this is, you know, where playing strategy games competitively like comes in. Like, I was watching Barry play earlier, and like he's very much like more of a play single player kind of person, which is great. Like, he's a speedrunner, he does like his thing and he does it well. And I know he plays like Smash competitively sometimes, and he commentates that game. But there is something to be said about like fundamentals and strategy carrying over. And at this point he's just going for the damage that he can. And I guess we're gonna see if ZG decides to style or not. Definitely, if she ends it with the Ryota groove, I will be very impressed. And I hope someone clips it if that happens. But just a very strong performance from ZG.
Good hit.
It was a good hit on the golem. Caesar's a little vulnerable now. Alright, if ZG can do this, killing Caesar and the headquarters at the same time, like, that will be genuinely like the perfect way to end this game. And I'm curious if you can set it up.
I don't think you can kill both. Double Witch Hex on Caesar and to set up the dash. Even if you do a really optimal dash, the Treb can only hit one target.
there is one archer in range. There's a sword in range.
No, the archer doesn't have enough health. It's too low.
That's true.
Even after a heal, that does like tickle damage to Caesar or the stronghold.
Oh,
Oh, and the witch didn't go for the hex.
right, fair enough. Oh, hit C. Alright, so she's going for the kill on Caesar. Is she gonna try and weaken him enough so that Ryota can get the kill? I wanna see it happen.
You have to use BowieTheHero here to kill Caesar. That's the only way. So it might actually become necessary to do it.
So here's the thing: is that the golem was at 21% health and is now at 41% health, which is funnily enough makes it weaker. However, who doesn't even kill the wow. I didn't realize like 70% dragon and heart uses the archer to finish off the wagon. It's like, screw that wagon, you're just gonna die.
Wagons are Gruber tanks.
Yeah, they are actually very durable. Softens up Caesar. Ends the turn. Oh, we got some BM here. She wants to finish it with the groove. Maybe she heard someone talking about trying like double kill, like groove and HQ. But I'm curious.
I don't think it's BM, not necessarily. She might not have realized that the Treb did that much to a stronghold.
That's
Like,
also
how
true.
often do you...
I guess we're
Just
gonna...
like, unless you've stared at the damage chart, it's not something you usually see in a game.
That's true, yeah. It looks like 90% of structures plus crit. Oh, we got people watching our stream. Apparently she's never used the trap before. But like didn't realize like what the damage was. That's fair. I think had I been in this position, and maybe one day I'll like make a custom map and try and set it up myself. But I think it is possible to get the setup.
The double kill thing might be doable next turn. If Caesar doesn't heal.
Okay, I'm expecting we're going to see an Inspire this turn. So, goes for the Mage Heal. I mean, that's pretty, like, a fairly obvious thing. You want to keep Caesar alive. Gets the kill on... Okay, so what we're going to see... One of these witches is going to die. And probably going to use the Spear on the Treb, because the Treb can now crit Caesar. And then possibly move like the dog to block or something. Yeah, witch is dead.
I got respect for Bowie. He's holding on there.
Yeah, he's
I don't
definitely...
think it'll make a difference, but fighting to the last, I respect that. And definitely doing decent damage too. Took out a witch, weakened the Treb. That might buy him another turn. Maybe something can happen in that turn. Who knows?
Yeah, I'd say like if this was a more even game, that would have been a really good Caesar groove. But you know, we have a golem barreling down. Like, there's like all these archers and a Treb in crit range of your commander. Using the archers to finish off anything in the way. It hits the stronghold. Trebuchet is quite weak now, so it's only going to deal 42%. But you know, depending on what the other follow-ups are, like you could definitely see BowieTheHero still finish this off.
I mean, right now we have a BowieTheHero from Harpy Giant Stronghold Caesar Mage.
Also, like, just to note, I think the dragon actually could have killed that golem because it was on roads. Right.
It would have also made for a better Ryota groove, because then it would have been jump, village, archer, dragon, harpy, giant, stronghold, Caesar, mage.
Yeah. I think you have to use the Ryota groove to get the kill on the. But yeah, they're both being very, very cautious at the end. She might actually be going for a dash. That is like a good lineup for doing a dash in this situation. So she could go for it. Entirely possible.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. There's not enough jumps to make it kill.
But the style points. All about the style. And I don't think there's like enough on the board to counter attack and kill Ryota if you go for it. I think chat is asking for a dash. Red Halo. It might not kill, but it sends a message. No, it just runs away. Moves Commander to a very safe position. And extends the game by another turn. So now it's up to Barry. What can Barry do in this situation?
I think for being new to the game, that was actually the smartest thing that ZG could have done. I've been in so many situations where I'm like, I'm almost positive this is a safe play, but I've got that doubt in the back of my mind.
And then you go for it and you die, and it's great.
Yeah, that happened to me against Math yesterday in our TYM game. It was like, I thought I had everything calculated perfectly. And then he steals from my HQ, and I'm like, shit. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Curses.
Yeah. I think if there'd been a witch hex in there as well, actually, that probably would have done it, but... I mean, the other thing as well, there's so many air units, like high mobility units, that you can set up like a super long dash with it now. Barry using the mage to finish off the golem. Mages do okay against golems, actually. Deal 25% average. And like with the golem being on that low health, like it's not going to get the 10% bonus from the grass tile. So... And now he's just pumping out mages. Like so many mages are coming out. Probably like the other smart play, build a mage out of this barracks here as well. I don't think you can actually get these archers past that dog unless you use the treb to kill it. Or if you... Yeah, because archers don't...
They're good against dogs. They do big damage to dogs.
Yeah, but it would take one-shotting it. And like maybe this other one. But...
The one standing 2 tiles below can crit and one-shot it. I'm pretty sure. Because that's
yeah, but
20 minus...
The other one then wouldn't be able to run up and hit the mage. But there was a heal on Caesar, so now mage is no longer an option. But yeah, I mean, like, one thing Harpies are good at is killing buildings now. And they actually do really quite good damage against headquarters. So even though this headquarters is going up to 68%, Trebuchet's gonna hit it. Take it down really low, and then a Harpy could potentially follow up and get the kill straight away. Or, you know, we could see the stylish end, and like Ryota does the big jump and finishes the headquarters off himself.
Just thinking about player personalities, there's one awkward thing that could happen here. I'm not sure if ZG feels comfortable attacking the mages. Because looking at, like, the damage calc, how much does my Harpy do to this mage? how much does the mage do to my dragon. They're scary. That could delay the game a little bit.
So, I actually... Stronghold's on 12%, right?
Yep.
Nothing else is in range to do the follow-up. That archer ran into melee range and attacked the golem, which is a bit unfortunate. But there is no game finisher here. So we are going to see another turn.
I think Treb takes it next turn.
Yeah, unless the Treb dies.
Bowdy can kill the Treb. That's definitely true.
Yeah, like the mage is in range, deals 50% of the Treb's life. The dog could follow up and kill it. So the headquarters definitely gonna die next turn unless Caesar dies first. There is no like building repair in this. You can't just make a bunch of SCVs and surround it and repair it. Which honestly I think would be really cool. I'd love to see a unit that repairs buildings.
Oh, that would be sick. It would sabotage a number of my strategies personally. That would be pretty cool.
People are saying there is the mod Age of Wargroove, which makes the gameplay like a lot closer to like a Warcraft 3 or StarCraft. The game does have full mod support now, so you can have villages repair buildings. Actually, villages could repair buildings. That would be sick. Just as like a base game thing. Right, so how much damage can Barry do here? He has 3 mages in range of like a bunch of air units. Gonna move the golem around, kill the archer. Can definitely deal with this trebuchet. All these air units are just basically gone at this point. Actually, looking at ZombieGrub's army, still has the advantage. It also is worth noting that villages count as units in this counter here. So it says she's ahead 16 right now, but she's only ahead 9. Yes, I did the math correctly. And there are other potentials for more units to get killed very quickly here. So we could see things like these harpies start getting killed like en masse. Like Caesar could run down and kill the Treb. Like the dog could run and kill one of these archers. And then like the HQ becomes defended and a lot of high value units die. And then like what's left? Like you've got this golem, these units here, and like you've just lost like a huge chunk of this army up here.
Yeah, that golem, that archer, they're too slow. They're not going to make it in time. And notice that there's now a wall around the right side of the stronghold. The archer can still hit it though.
Yeah, the archer does pose a threat. They deal, was it like 10% average damage to a stronghold, I think?
That sounds about right.
And also we're seeing timers come into play now. We're at the point where we kind of expected the show match to get close to wrapping up. They're really like making this go long. Okay, the Treb needs to die. Uses the mage. Dog can follow up and get the kill. Oh, it doesn't quite. It's on 4%. But that is very low.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
That's not going to kill anymore.
And look at that positioning. The harpies can't go through that flagstone. They can't get to the HQ.
I
think an archer crit, maybe.
Archer crit could punch that mage down. Especially with a hex. Ooh, gets the golem kill as well. Oh, archer gets the hit.
Didn't go for the mage.
Second archer could go for a follow-up hit.
It's too low. I don't think there's enough damage on the board to finish it off. Again, it would require Ryota to dash this turn.
Rio could dash next turn, potentially. But these mages, all of ZombieGrub's army was weak against these. So they're just kind of like absolutely steamroll everything that's here. And she keeps... So here's the other thing, is if you attack something like, even actually a commander as well, but buildings, if you focus on buildings, then your opponent can counterattack you. And they do lots of damage each turn. Gets the building to 8%. 5% archer isn't going to finish that off.
Nah. No way. And the worst part is that Archer is right near the mage. That Witch, right near the mage. All of the units near Bowie are about to get swept. But ZG has like double Bowie's time, and Bowie can't end the game. So we might see a clock victory, which was deserved, to be fair.
Yeah, this is very close to ending. But you have to end it, and like I almost want to say like falling over at the end. Wow, Witch Hex kills 2. And like let's look at Bowie's income. He's on 700. So he built a mage and used the Witch Hex, and that's his gold for the turn. And that Hex was great. Gets the follow up. Caesar's getting close to having Groove again. Needs to attack the archer from the left and the right. Otherwise, if you put one of the mages there, then you can like set up for a groove on it. Potentially.
Yeah, Bowie does not have the ability to win the game unless Ryota goes in. There's not enough time to get your units to the stronghold and attack it.
And yeah, like they're both running low on time, so like they're being very, very quick about how they end their turns. You might even see a Ryota groove used here. Oh, there was actually a potential to go around the left, I think, and then catch into the... Oh, it wouldn't have quite worked. But it was almost like a groove that would have set up and gone all the way around and hit the headquarters. I actually think it is worth using the groove here, just to get close, like get the commander close to the HQ so that you can get a finish in the next turn.
Also have to keep in mind, though, player knowledge. I'm not sure if ZG, who has been doing incredible in this game, but knows enough of the damage calcs to do that safely at this point in time. Remember, ZG wins on timeout. They don't want to take any unnecessary risks at this point. And even if you could theoretically win if you had perfect knowledge, ZG does not have perfect knowledge.
Yeah, it's true. And I think we're definitely seeing that in the use of the golem. There was like the mage heal earlier on the golem. Prevented it from getting into crit. And then like having like these high value units and then like not using things like there was a golem on road, for example. And like we could have seen a critical hit there, which would have finished it off with a dragon, for example. But he's on 45 seconds. He has to start making his turns quick.
Caesar can go down. Night crit golem hit Ryota groove. Let's see if it happens.
We're starting to see, here's like one of the very like important, I guess you would say like intermediate things you start to do as a Wargroove player is you start throwing low health units into things like commanders to get follow up. But doesn't go for the follow up on Ryota, just leaves it there. Uses the dog to end. Could run the sword into the HQ and have Ryota dash over it. I think that would actually do enough damage to end the game. Or just move the sword into position. Ooh. Big damage on Caesar like you were saying with that night crit. Golem could run around to the left, get a hit, sword follow up. Potentially kills. Goes for the heal, playing very safe with Ryota, knows that that's like a win condition.
One thing that's really interesting to see is ZG never stopped going for villages, which is, oddly enough, something you only see the highest tier of players do. Always take villages, always increase your income. They have impressed me all game with just how well they can play in 3 days. I feel like in 2 weeks, they would be at the top of the competitive... Well, they'd be able to compete in the competitive pools, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like, we do have, like, a tier system of pools when we do our round-robin events. And we have the best, like the top player pools, which like you and me compete in, for example. And like below that, there's kind of like the more intermediate levels, like the people that are in the scene but maybe aren't up there with like Red Jams and Zeronix and Shu and all these other notable names in the community. And then below that,
Gotta
you
give
have like
credit to Master of Math in there too. Math has been doing really well in.
that's true. Oh, but we have a game over. Time ran out. Either the time ran out or that game was very much over. Like anything could have just like the knight could have run up and hit the HQ and it would have ended.